welcome to part 3. First things first, we are going to just take this old pad off. So now this pad's off, what we're going to need to do is find a piece that's going to fit and do the job we need, and then perhaps look at actually flattening this base off so we can get a decent join. We said originally we were going to put a hard pad on there, but with recent conversations with the customer, actually it's going to be used potentially for better game shooting. It's probably wise we put something a bit soft on there so that we can put some heavier loads in. As such, what we're going to do is we're going to put one of these on. This is an open cell pad, and you'll see what this is like very shortly. So the beauty of this pad also, by the way, is that it will mould to the back of the gun, and as such, if ever wanting to return it to original, we can put this in a little bag and attach the original heel plate pretty much whenever we want. So here goes. So all we have to do is press it to the back, make sure you have enough meat all the way around so that you can actually put it somewhere handy. We could actually use the original screw holes as well, certainly in one account for the top, and we'll just have to drill a new one for the bottom, but that is not the end of the world. What we'll need to do is drill that hole a little deeper because the original screws are quite thick, as you can see. The original screws are quite thick, so we're going to have to drill it a little deeper to take a slightly thinner screw, potentially. So let's put that in and then worry about the bottom one. I don't actually have to drill that hole any deeper because I have got this rather large toothed screw, as you can see. So let's put the top one in and see how it goes. These open cell pads are about the only one you don't really have to lubricate because you'd have to be really unfortunate to damage it, but I always like to give it a little lube up anyway. It never hurts. Never hurts. Right, number one done. Let's screw in and see how it feels. Again, lubricate. Lubrication is the key. As you can see, this gap will close up as we tighten. Alright, it didn't actually tighten, and that is because, in all honesty, I didn't notice this hole had been plugged. And as such, screwing that screw in has pulled out this very effective hole plugging measure, which is why when you screw and plug a hole, this is not how you do it. If you just shove in chunks of wood, actually it doesn't help anybody particularly. So what we're going to have to do to this is use your longer screw. I don't really want to, and we should drill this out and plug it properly, but I don't know. No, because I want the original pad to fit. So if I start doing that, it's going to be counterproductive. There you go, it's a good long word. So I'm not really sure what to do at this point. I don't want to drill it, poke a new hole in it and do all that because the original pad then won't fit quite so well. Neither do I want to drill a new hole. Neither do I want to drill an excessively long hole. In fact, there's no real good options if we would like to keep this gun original for the original pad. However, the best option of the lot is to drill a longer hole in there and put a longer screw in there. So that's what I'm going to do. Wondering if we can take this whole plug out. The answer is yes, we can. It really isn't that exotic at all, is it? Alright. There's a very large hole. Okay. What I need now is a very large screw. Alright, and there we go. Here is a longer screw. As you can see, it actually reaches into the bottom of this hole and into the hole we've just pre-tapped. So, anyway, let's push the old one out. Right, let's try again, shall we? Alright, so this time, this should tighten up. Sort of, unless it tightens up at the top. And that bottom one should pull this bottom end in, hopefully. If not, I might actually have to drill a third hole in the middle, which can be really hard, seeing as the centre of the inside of this is soft foam. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to put a centre punch into the screw hole, just mark the wood where we want it to be. It's always worth concerning yourself with more of where the wood will be, so you should pull this down into play of where you should be in its sort of final position, if you like. And then just give this back end a tap. Right, as you can see, it's left a nice impression in the wood there. Now we're going to drill a hole in there, put a screw in, pull it tight, we'll be good. Right in, lubricate the screw, and in she goes. Very strange taper on the back of this stock actually, so whether it binds perfectly or not is going to be a bit of an everyday mystery. Well, you can see all the edge wear on the stock and all the other little bits there, but actually, generally speaking, it's a pretty good fit. Generally speaking, it's a pretty good fit. As you can see, there's a couple of little gaps here and there, but given that this is for practicality rather than beauty, this is not a permanent addition. I should really emphasise that this is not a permanent addition, that this is for practical purposes only. The original is the only permanent addition. However much I would very much like to put a big horn chunk on here. Finding horn that is in this sort of 1.25", 32, 34mm department is next to impossible. So this is purely the only part of this whole project that is practical. That's a lie actually, because the only part of this project that was practical is when we cleaned the action. Anyway, so what we do now is we scribe around the back edge of this pad. This kind of does feel a bit of a shame to be fitting this, I should probably point out, but it will be practical. So these open cell foam pads are extremely lightweight, so as such you're not playing with the balance of the gun, the overall weight of the gun, and actually they are amazingly good at reducing recoil where they are so squidgy. They're not my favourite thing to fit, but again, every different pad has different practical applications, different practical purposes. Before I remove this and start grunting to describe, what I will do is I'm going to go over to the linisher and I'm going to get the angle against this stock down onto here, onto the foam, and that's going to sort of set me up just nicely. So as you can see at this point, we have got a really fairly good wood to pad fit, and actually that line is nicely continued. Obviously there's a few little imperfections that we're going to need to polish out, because if it was that easy to fit a pad, well, I suppose it is that easy to fit a pad if you don't care about the aesthetics. What I am going to do, however, just for the sake of this, is I'm also going to do it to the top end as well. Don't do this at home unless you are confident with your tools and your ability not to slip and cock it up. Don't put any pressure on the pad, don't put any pressure on it whatsoever. Let the sanding machine, let the linisher do its job. Sorry. Michael thinks I look funny. I think I look perfectly handsome. In fact, if I wore glasses, which I probably do need to, I like this. In fact, Michael, you look a lot like this.
No, I don't. I don't look like that. Audience, sorry, do I look like that?
Oh yeah, I look more handsome.
No, obviously you do.
I think I found the gravy.
Alright, so that got us significantly closer. Sometimes using a machine is just nice. Again, take it easy, never push it. The first time you make a mistake, you feel like a bleep mug, so don't do it. Or aka, just don't make mistakes. Alright, so you can see that we still have quite a little lip there actually. Again, you could just polish it and leave it at this point if it was purely for practical reasons, but sometimes guns really do transcend the practical. That's kind of the point. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pop it off, and then I'm going to grind down to that scribe line that we had before. Remembering at all times that it's really the sides and the top, well certainly only the sides, and the top and bottom aren't even that trustworthy. You can trust the side scribes, the top and bottom scribes are less trustworthy. Actually, it's significantly easier to touch these into the gun when you're done. I think anyway, although we will take it closer than it is currently. More lube. You can certainly feel when you go in dry, it just isn't as easy. You get a feeling for what it feels like when you've got the right amount of lube in place. It's raining a lot. All the times I feel like I should still be keepering or doing something like that, I'm quite happy because actually I am at least dry, and there's a heater going next door that makes this room slightly above freezing. Alright, so you can see on here that we have got the scribe line quite clear around the outside. Alright, the job now is to take ourselves down to that, so we can use files and sandpaper as always. Probably sandpaper more than files, to be honest, just to make our lives a little bit easier. Something I did pick up earlier actually is I think these scribe lines, because of that little inlet round the back of the stock there, these little scribe lines are actually a little bit further in than I'd like them. Usually they actually sit just slightly outside, so you can go up to the line, consume the line, job done. With these, actually I think we want to stay that little bit shyer than the line as opposed to just cutting straight into it. Now church, proceed with caution. I am actually quite happy with how this is turning out. We're significantly closer than the line. I'm going to rebolt it to the gun. We've got a fairly nice-ish polish on the sides there. Happy days. So what we're about to do now is about to mask off the gun, and you can do this with masking tape if you want. However, I quite like doing it with electrical tape. Just around this back rim at least. Just gives you a little bit more control on the edge than masking tape does. A little lip at the top, it's annoying, isn't it? Well, on your second run, I like to just take back a few mil from that edge so that when it comes to the blending process I can blend that a little bit easier. And then a couple of loops. There we go. Tell you what, I've got a terrible slouch, guys. And this whole YouTuber has really made me realise it. So, now what we're going to do is we're going to get our sanding blocks, we're going to wrap it in sandpaper, and now we put in the hard yards. So, sandpaper, wrap round block, sand. Always go up a grit if you ever feel the need to give it a little polish. You've always got your 1200s. You're never going to do much damage with it, so it's almost worth doing occasionally just to sort of, again, gauge where you're at. Wonderful. So there is the indication of where we're at the moment. Significantly closer, as you can see. Almost on the line really. In fact, a little bit of 1200 and a polish along there is going to bring that pretty much to perfection. Sort of. Just top and bottom to give a good hoofing to, and we'll be done. Okay, so we're actually somewhere near that wood level now. I'm just going to pull it off, pull this tape off, pull the pad off, polish it, put it back on, and we'll see where we're looking. And I'll see you in a minute. So here is the finished product, a pad fitted to this wonderful T-Wild gun. Altogether rather happy with it, it's a very nice job. The only problem I find with these micro cells is the plastic they fit them to really never takes a shine that well. It always has this kind of strange satin grainy sort of touch that occasionally appears on it for no explicable reason whatsoever. But either way, here she goes, here she is, one wonderful-ish pad fitted to this wonderful old gun. It's been a fun sort of semi-restoration project and a nice follow-along for you, I'm sure. Apart from that, I am sorry that this last episode of all things didn't have quite the flair of the others, or maybe not the meat of the others, but I can assure you it's taken me just as long to do. There's a few bits I'm not happy with. That little roll-in around the side, I'd love to actually modify it and hollow out the middle of this wood to make this whole pad bond better, but sometimes it is just a case of practicality, and making this gun beautiful and usable is actually what matters here, not making it look original from there back. A bit like we weren't going to refinish and refurb this whole front end. Anyway, it's enough panning, let me put it together. Right. One. Two. Tell you what, I love the way these things lock up, it just feels good. And that is now a much more usable length than it was. Although far too short for me, it is now, I think, just about 14.5. The way I look at it, just about 14.5, which is significantly better than the 13.25 it was. Guys, there it has been, the T-Wild project here at TGS. It has been wild, it's been good fun, and I hope you've learnt something. And I hope this gun goes out and actually has a bit of fun. Guys, thank you very much for watching. It's been real difficult doing, once again, another project in the workshop to no music. Sasha says I'm just supposed to buy some wireless headphones, but I'm fairly confident I'd lose them. So, for now, that's all from us. Take care, goodbye, and wish this gun some luck until it's back in here one day for a little bit more love.